Hi, I'm Mr. Macabre. You might remember me from such YouTube channels as Terror and Tats, Horror Heaven 77, and Cinema 77 Horror and Cult Film Lover. Yes, today I'm starting up my new channel, which is going to be called Mr. Macabre's Movie Library. And yeah, I just wanted to welcome you, and this is an introduction video. I hope, I really do hope everybody will like this. Yeah, and I just wanted to go ahead and start a new channel, to be honest with you, and just I gotten to be honest, I gotten tired of doing the 4K reviews and stuff like that, and and there are so many other people who are doing all that stuff, and also too just it was just getting to a point where financially I couldn't keep up, and I couldn't get my hands on all this stuff to review and everything else, and another thing as well was just I got sick and tired of the whole, there's all this infighting nowadays with like movie collectors and stuff. Like you got 4K collectors going after DVD collectors. You got DVD collectors and Blu-ray collectors going after 4K collectors and all this other kind of stuff. And another thing is too is as I do love a beautiful collector's edition, and I do love a good slipcover and the occasional steelbook, but just kind of getting tired of just only talking about the release itself. And I like talking about movies. That's one of the reasons why I ever wanted to start a YouTube channel in the first place, is because I love movies. I think you can kind of clearly see that. Horror is my number one love, even though I do love other kinds of films. I love comedies, I love westerns, cult films, animated films, just different stuff, and I wanted to be able to talk about it. And I felt like with the previous channel, I just couldn't deliver on that. And, I couldn't deliver on all the reviews that I wanted to do. I couldn't deliver on buying all the editions I wanted to buy. And, and also too, with tats in the title, I couldn't also, that's another thing too, is as much as I love tattoos and I still want to get tattoos down the road, it's just right now, it's just something I just can't do. So I wanted to, kind of shift course and, make a channel where mostly it's going to be talking about movies and my love for movies. I'm still going to probably do haul videos and, and I'll still talk about the occasional 4K and stuff, but I'm just kind of, I realize it probably won't get as, my channel may not get as many subscribers and I may not get as many views, but, I just kind of want to get back to really the reason I wanted to get into YouTube in the first place, which is to, just, shoot the breeze about movies and hopefully open up discussions talking about movies and books and music and, excuse me, and just kind of share my love for the whole thing. And hopefully, hopefully more and more people will come along and, we just have a good time and just talk about it. And, so anyway, this is basically going to be my introduction video. And like, for example, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about a movie. This movie is one of my absolute all-time favorite movies, and I've always wanted to talk about it, just never really made a video talking about it. But yeah, today we're going to talk about from 1974. We're going to talk about the classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, co-written, produced, and directed by the late, great Tobe Hooper. And this is it too. That's another thing too, I want to talk about, I want to do videos talking about the fun of collecting and some of the important things, talk about stuff like, if you can see, like, back there, you see that bag there, that's DVDs. And one of the things I'm doing is I'm curating, I'm going through a lot of my DVDs and stuff, and not really able to do it much anymore, but I remember used to, go back a few years, you could go into pawn shops, thrift stores and stuff like that, and you could pick up, for DVDs for like pennies. And, at least in my area, a lot of the pawn shops have stopped doing that. They stopped selling movies pretty much altogether. Thrift stores, not so much. You got the occasional Goodwill. And if I ever wanted, the Harry Potter Potty? The Harry Potter movie collection on DVD, I would be set for life, man. I would have no problems getting Harry Potter DVDs and stuff. But yeah, just but you know, the thing is like back there, that's one of the reasons why I'm curating a lot of that stuff. Is I ended up back when it was able to go into like a pawn shop and you could get, you know, like 10 DVDs for like $5 and stuff like that. You know, I used to pick up lots of stuff, and then I started looking at some of this stuff and realized, like, now I know why I got them for so cheap, because some of these movies are absolutely terrible, and the DVDs are horrible. Horrible. Just the movie is horrible. The picture quality, everything on it is just, you know, poor and everything. So I'm going through but kind of going back to what I was saying is, you know, like I want to talk about some of the fun of collecting and, you know, like ways you can spruce up your collection and stuff, and you know, kind of make your own collector's editions and use your imagination and stuff. And I've showed that before, but you know, okay, like for example, this here, you know, this is my Black Maria version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you know, this is kind of cool. Okay, now the thing is, if you bought this edition, there was supposed to be, I believe, a poster and a there was supposed to be a poster and a apron that came along with it. Well, when I got this edition, that it didn't have that. So I thought, you know, I got the space and it would fit. Unfortunately, it didn't fit all of them, but I thought what I would do, and well, also too, because as far as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 goes, I got the beautiful Vinegar Syndrome box edition of that over there. So I thought what I would do is, since there is the space available, I thought I would take some of my other, see, I got the original right there, and I thought I'd take some of my other Texas Chainsaw Massacre Blu-rays and put them in there, you know, and I thought that was kind of a cool idea, you know. So we have Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, we have Texas Chainsaw 3D, we have the remake. Unfortunately, we don't have a really nice Blu-ray edition of Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. I do have that on DVD, the unrated with the bonus features. I really, really am hoping, you know, I've said it before, I really, really am hoping that one day, you know, Arrow, since now they're in the new, they got their hooks into the new line, Warner Brothers movie library. I really am hoping that one day Arrow will give us a nice 4K of both the remake and the beginning, and have the beginning, you know, in 4K with like both the theatrical and the unrated cut, and with all the bonus features, and maybe even add some new ones. Excuse me. Because I really, really do enjoy Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. That's really a good movie. Not so much though as Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, but I was able to use store credit and everything else, so I really didn't have to pay anything for this. So, and I just got it to add to the collection. But anyway, so I got some of these. Leatherface, I would have put Leatherface in there. I do have it on Blu-ray. I would have put it in here, but unfortunately there just wasn't enough room to fit it in. But anyway, so I'm kind of happy about that. But that's what I'm saying. And you know, that's like other stuff I want to look at too, is down the road, is, you know, ways you can kind of spruce up and maybe, you know, make your own kind of collector's editions and stuff like that, you know, so. But anyway, yeah, go back to, you know, I'm not going to talk too much about the movie itself. I mean, if, you know, you're watching this, chances are you already know the movie, you know what it's about. I don't think I really need to go into too much detail about it, but there we go. This is the beautiful 5-disc set, you know, and this one has a little poster in there too, and this is so cool. I'm glad to have this, you know. And I do have it on 4K though. I have the Dark Sky 4K Steelbook, and you know, I did come across the second sight at my local record store, but they wanted $150 for it, and it just didn't work for me. But anyway, so yeah, just talking about this movie. What am I going to really say about this that I haven't said before, or that hasn't been said before? It's a wonderful terror film, and it's endured over 50 years now, and this movie still holds up. It still scares the living crap out of people. You know, I could understand it's, you know, it's, I know a lot of people are looking at it as like, God, the people in these movies sometimes act so stupid and stuff, and I get where they're coming from, but Leatherface, such a terrifying, iconic character, and just, oh man, I remember as a kid, you could tell I'm not a young man, but you could tell back in the day. I remember in the early '80s when I think it was coming up on almost the 10-year anniversary. It was like around '84, I think, and they were talking about re-releasing the movie, going into theaters, and I remember like just all that stuff back then about how like they didn't want to show it on TV. It was considered too gruesome. And I was one of those kids, they said, you can't watch something or you shouldn't watch something like, it just made me want to see it even more. And it was just, it was so much fun, just to, and then finally, getting to see, like many, many people who have such a love for this movie. The first time I saw was on the media VHS. We were finally able to rent it, and we sat down and we watched it, and I was just stunned by what I saw. And I really, really had kind of just a problem that day, because I remember watching it that, I remember like just being really surprised by what I saw, and I couldn't believe that I couldn't believe that I liked it. I couldn't believe that I was actually entertained by what I saw, and I was questioning it's like, what is wrong with me? Why would I enjoy a movie like this? And there were moments of it that I found funny, and of course, it wasn't until later on when I was able to first watch it on DVD, and I was able to see with Toby Hooper's commentary and stuff. And it's like, because I thought, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why were there parts of this that I found funny and all this kind of stuff? Then come to find out, it's like, well, parts in the movie were meant to be funny. There was meant to be humor in it and stuff. So I felt a little bit better, but this movie just over the years has become one of my absolute all-time favorite movies. And just it's become a rewatch movie for me. Anytime it's on, I have to sit down and rewatch it. And oh man, I can even remember the day I watched the remake. Getting to see the remake, I dreaded this remake like you wouldn't believe, and I was so worried that they weren't going to do it right, and it was going to be terrible. But finally got to see it, and I've actually had conversations with people about that they actually prefer the remake over the original, but it's not because the remake is a better film than the original. It's because to a lot of people, and that's what I was talking about, this movie is over 50 years old and it still holds up, right? Like, a lot of people actually prefer the remake over the original because the original is just too scary. I know some people will probably be like, that's bullshit. No, it's actually, I've talked to people and this is their opinion about it. They say, like this movie, it's like when you watch the remake, you don't have that safety catch of, or when you watch the original, you don't have that safety catch of knowing, having that constant feeling of, oh, it's a Hollywood movie. Whereas the remake, you have that. It's, even though it's gritty and rough, it's got that same, but you could tell, like when you're watching the remake, you could tell you're watching a Hollywood film. It has a traditional Hollywood score. You have recognizable actors in it. Like when you watch the remake, you are constantly aware that you're watching a movie where you don't really have that safety catch with the original movie. And, when you're watching this, it feels more real. And that's because there's so much authenticity in it. Texas, the movie was shot in Texas. The remake was shot in Texas as well. Which props to the people who did the remake. They wanted to make a movie that would truly honor and live up to the original. And that's one of the reasons why over time, the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre became, such a, beloved remake and everything, is because you could tell that the love and the respect for the original is in the movie, and we'll get into talking about remakes at another video, but yeah, just, this movie is, But it's like when you're watching this, you don't have that traditional score. The people in the movie feel real, and that's because everybody in that movie is authentic Texans. So it matters. It really does matter. Whereas like the remake, while the cast is good, Jessica Biel is good, and Arlie Ermy is good, and everything. You could tell these are all Hollywood actors and stuff. Whereas like these are all just genuine people from Texas. So but yeah, this movie is so great. It's still indoors. It's still scary as hell. You can watch. There's many reaction videos on YouTube, and this movie still scares people. Still gets under your skin, and just this is just a movie that over time I've embraced it, and it's just become one of my absolute top favorite movies. It's definitely my top three favorite. My three top favorite movies would have to be Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the original Evil Dead. And that's another thing too, is like I can't wait. I'm sitting here thinking about, man, I want to do videos where I talk about like all the Evil Dead movies, and I want to get into talk about more about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies and stuff. And so it's like, this is going to be fun, and I enjoy this movie. But like I said, there's not really too much I can say about it that hasn't been said, and the crazy, conditions under which the movie was made, and, and just, the late great Toby Hooper, and just, oh man, and that's another thing too, is like, I'd like to do videos talking about like certain directors and stuff, and, especially like Toby Hooper, how, he was somebody who, a lot of the times when he made a movie, his movies were not really appreciated when they came out, but over time, a lot of his movies have really found their audience, and they become a lot more loved and respected and praised and things like that. But yeah, I love this movie, and it's just so good. And like I said, it's amazing that a movie, over 50 years later, and it still has the power to scare people. And I think that's another thing too, is the fact that, it is aged is part of its charm. Is, it really is a product of its time. And the fact that because it is a product of its time is what helps make it work. The one thing I thought that was pretty funny about the remake was the whole idea of, that they're saying we're going to remake the original movie because the original movie, it's an old film, it's dated and all this kind of stuff. So we need to modernize it. But let's spend a lot of money and everything to make it look and feel as much like a 70s movie as we possibly can. I always thought that was hilarious. The idea, let's modernize a movie, but, because the original movie is too old, but let's try to make it look and feel as much like the old movie as we possibly can. That just always tickled me. I just always thought that was a funny idea. But I think I'm about ready to close this off. But yeah, this is just an introduction to my channel. And, I really hope, that people will go along with me for the ride. And and I hope so. I hope, hopefully we can get into discussions. We could talk about movies and just talk about how fun they are, and, kind of like, share information, like, behind the scenes or whatever. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and this is something I really want to do. Even if nobody watches, I really want to do this, and get to talk about some of my, do videos on like a lot of my favorite movies, talk about a lot of my favorite directors, writers, actors, actresses, performers, whatever you want to call them, and stuff like that. And this is great. I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope everybody will come along for the ride. So that's it. So if anybody took as I always say, if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a like, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I hope what I said interests you, and maybe you'll want to come along and have some fun. We can have fun talking about movies, and that's not just movies, but that's another thing too. It's like I'm listening to the audio book for like The Godfather right now. It'd be fun to do videos like comparing the books to the movies and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well. So that's it, everybody. Take care. Have a good night. See you all later.